Saint Francis receiving the stigmata, a mystical encounter with Christ. Saint Francis receiving the stigmata is a painting by Lorenzo Monaco, a Florentine artist and monk, dating from around 1420. It depicts a pivotal moment in the life of Saint Francis of Assisi, the founder of the Franciscan order and one of the most revered saints in medieval Europe. The painting shows the miraculous event when Saint Francis, while in retreat on Mount Alverna, received the wounds, stigmata, that Jesus Christ suffered during his crucifixion. The painting is rich with symbolic elements that convey the profound spiritual experience of Saint Francis and his identification with Christ. Saint Francis of Assisi, 1181 to 1226, was a charismatic preacher and reformer who renounced his worldly possessions and embraced a life of poverty, humility, and service. He founded the Franciscan order, which followed his example of living in harmony with nature and all creatures. He also had a deep devotion to the Passion of Christ, the suffering and death of Jesus on the cross. According to his biographers, in 1224, 2 years before his death, Saint Francis went to Mount Alverna, a secluded place in the Apennine Mountains, to spend 40 days in prayer and fasting. There, he had a vision of a seraph, a six-winged angel, bearing the image of the crucified Christ. From the seraph, rays of light pierced the body of Saint Francis, imprinting on him the wounds of Christ's hands, feet, and side. These wounds, known as the stigmata, were visible to others and remained with him until his death. This was the first recorded case of stigmata in history, and it was seen as a sign of God's favor and a confirmation of Saint Francis' holiness. The painting by Lorenzo Monaco, circa 1370 to 1425, was originally part of a triptych, a 3-panel altarpiece, dedicated to Saint Francis. The central panel depicted the crucifixion of Christ, while the right panel showed the death of Saint Francis. The left panel, which is the subject of this article, portrayed Saint Francis receiving the stigmata. The triptych was commissioned by the Compagnia dei Laudisi di San Francesco, a confraternity of laypeople devoted to Saint Francis, for their chapel in the Church of Santa Maria del Carmine in Florence. The painting reflects the artistic style of the late Gothic period, characterized by elongated figures, bright colors, intricate details, and gold backgrounds. Lorenzo Monaco was influenced by the International Gothic style, which was popular in Europe at the time, as well as by the Byzantine and Sienese traditions. He was also a monk of the Camaldolese order, a branch of the Benedictines, and his paintings often express a mystical and contemplative sensibility. The painting depicts the moment when Saint Francis receives the stigmata from the vision of the seraphic Christ. The scene is set against a rocky landscape, which represents the remote and rugged location of Mount Alverna. The landscape also creates a contrast between the earthly and the heavenly realms, as well as between the natural and the supernatural phenomena. Saint Francis is shown kneeling on a rock, with his arms raised and his eyes fixed on the vision above him. He is dressed in a simple grey robe, tied with a cord, which is the habit of the Franciscan order. He also wears a halo, which signifies his sanctity and his proximity to God. His posture and expression convey his awe and reverence, as well as his pain and joy, as he receives the stigmata. Above him, in the upper left corner of the painting, hovers the vision of the seraphic Christ, who is depicted as a six-winged angel with a human body and a crucified torso. The seraph is one of the highest ranks of angels in the Christian tradition, and its name means burning one in Hebrew. The seraph is rendered in red hues, which emphasize its fiery and divine nature. The wings of the seraph form a mandala, an almond-shaped aureole, which surrounds and frames the figure of Christ. The mandala is a symbol of glory and majesty, often used to depict Christ or other holy figures in medieval art. The figure of Christ is shown with his head tilted to the right, his eyes closed, and his mouth slightly open, indicating his death on the cross. His body is marked by the wounds of the nails and the spear, which are the source of the stigmata. From his body, rays of light emanate towards Saint Francis, marking the transmission of the stigmata. The rays are painted in gold, which symbolizes the divine light and grace that flow from Christ to Saint Francis.